Like Kristen said, my name is Wendy Kannel. I work for the Wisconsin Farm Bureau as the state's Ag and the Classroom Coordinator. So I work with kids on a very regular basis, all the way from pre-K, so 4-year-olds, up until 12th grade, and teach them about what's happening in the agriculture industry. So we talk a lot about what was said in that video, that agriculture is no longer just farming, it's a lot more than that. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what agriculture looks like today. And so we talk about how the industry looks and how kind of your food starts at the very, very beginning. Farmers are innovative. We talk about this gentleman right here. This is Pierre. He was recognized by the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, as a champion of change. What does he do? He started this greenhouse and he grows lettuce hydroponically. What does it mean to grow hydroponically?
Artificial.
What's that?
Artificial.
Not artificially, but with what? With water, okay? So we don't need soil to grow the lettuce, but we just need water. And nutrients are added to the water that way. So farmers are innovative. They look for many different ways to make something better. We have a lot that we need to do. We have a lot of people that we need to feed. So we need to do more with less. So farmers need to be really, really innovative. Farmers also need to be knowledgeable. There's a lot of different things that they need to know about. So this is Sam, and she grows fruits and vegetables for a local farmers market, and she cans them. One of the things that she needs to be knowledgeable about are all of the regulations and the rules that go into making those things happen. So when she cans those products, how does she ensure that they're safe for you? How many of you want to make sure that the food that you eat is safe to eat? Everyone should be raising their hand, right? We all want to know that the food that we eat is safe to eat, and that's one way farmers are knowledgeable. Now I'll use my personal situation as an example. I grew up on a dairy farm in the northern part of Wisconsin, and I have my dad who was kind of a crazy guy, but he needs to be knowledgeable a lot of different things. He needs to know about the animals, he needs to know about machinery and the tools that we use to maintain the machinery, and he also needs to know about the land and the crops and the things that he's going to be growing to make products that we're going to use on an everyday basis. Farmers are also diverse. The lady right here at the top of the podium, this is Rachel Layton. Rachel lived right in the middle of town. And so what did Rachel do? She wanted to become involved in FFA. Are any of you here familiar with FFA or involved in FFA in any way? Raise your hand if you are. A few people want to raise their hand. All right, perfect. FFA is a great way for you to become engaged and involved in the agriculture industry. Now, as we talk about farmers and people in agriculture, you don't have to be a farmer to be involved. So Rachel actually grew up in the middle of town and she wanted to become involved. So what did she do? She started off by going to her community garden and renting a very, very small space. So she rented one plot and started growing some vegetables. And so once the season got going and she needed to sell the vegetables, she built a little stand. And it was just a stand alongside the road, and she was selling her vegetables. She was so successful the first year, she decided to rent 2 plots the next year. She continued to grow her vegetables, she continued to build her program, continued to sell on the side of the road. And this is where Rachel is today. Rachel was what we call a star of Wisconsin. She was the #1 FFA member in the state in agribusiness. She lives in the middle of town, and it started with a community garden. Now this is something unique. Farmers are not the same. They're all very, very, very different. We have the example of my dad who milks dairy cows and has lots of land. And then we have the salsa lady. Does anybody know the salsa lady? Yeah. From a chip chick? Yeah. Oh, that salsa lady. Sorry. We have the salsa lady. All considered farmers, but very, very different. They're growing our food and some of the products that we're going to be using on a regular basis. And so because of that, farmers are very, very, very diverse. Farmers are also fun. We have Jackie Roden. This is Jackie. She's going to be one of your breakout sessions today. And she owns a business called Roden Barnyard Adventures. And so she invites the public to come to her farm and take tours. She's kind of a ham in front of the camera. She likes a lot of attention, so when you're in a breakout session today. She invites the public to come to her farm and take tours and introduces them to the agriculture industry and the things that they do on their farm. So it's either young families that come, or school groups that come, or maybe even a group like this that would come to visit her farm. So farmers can be fun. They're not kind of the fuddy-duddies that you might think that they are. So you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what is this lady talking about? This doesn't even matter to me. But I care, and so why should you care too? It's kind of a big deal, agriculture. Did you know that most of the products that you use on a daily basis start in the agriculture industry? And so I literally went around my house this morning and grabbed a few things. So it's easy for us to make the connection to food. And things like Cheerios, or I have brownie mix here, all come from agricultural products. Or things like soda, corn syrup and soda. But did you also know that products like paint and glue, shampoo, soap, lotion, toothpaste, and even medicine all contain some type of plant or animal byproduct. And so all of these originate or start from the agriculture industry. Granted, these are just a few items, but I'm sure that if we went around where you live and identified some of the items in your house, most of them can be connected back to the agriculture industry. And that's why it's really, really important to know who your farmers are and about the agriculture industry. And one other important thing is that, did you know that the price that you pay for these items are affected by a lot of different things? So one day you might pay $1 for a soda, but then the next day you might pay $1.50. Does anyone know, or can anyone tell me why that is? Why is there such a wide span of prices that you pay? What affects the prices? Can anyone take a guess? Taxes? Okay. Anything else? How it was made. Very good. Anything else? Look at that. Say it really loud. The demand for it. Excellent. Well, let's start with an important one, the weather. We live in Wisconsin, and the weather here can be crazy. We can have a flood one day, a drought the next, and then our favorite season, winter. I can see that all of you look really pumped up for winter to come. But all of the seasons that we go through in Wisconsin have a big effect. Now, winter plays a big role in the agriculture industry because we have a lot of fields and animals living through the winter. And if we have a harsh winter, sometimes that weather can have effect on plants and animals. I think someone talked about supply and demand. So if we have 4,000 cans of soda and we have 12 people that want a soda, the supply is huge. So we don't have to charge as much because we have a huge, huge supply. But if we only had 4 cans of soda and 4,000 people that wanted that can of soda, we could probably charge quite a bit of money for that. So when the supply is high, the price is going to be lower. And when the supply is low, the price is going to be higher. And you're going to see that whether you're at the grocery store or the convenience store buying different products. Supply and demand plays a big, big part of those prices. We can also talk about, someone said taxes over here, so we can talk about compliance and regulations and guidelines. Like we said earlier, we want to have a really, really safe food supply. So there are a lot of rules and regulations that we need to follow. And those are important. But sometimes we need to make improvements, and sometimes those can cost money. And so that can play a role in the price that you pay. Also transportation. So if we have something here in Wisconsin that needs to get shipped to Florida, we need to account for the cost of that. And so transportation plays a huge role in the amount that we're going to pay. Now Wisconsin is known for tons and tons of agricultural commodities. So we have cranberries, potatoes, ginseng, we have cheese, tons of dairy products, that get shipped all over the United States and all over the world. So for every dollar that you pay at the grocery store, 16 cents goes to the farmer. Okay? So if only 16 cents goes to the farmer, what happens to the other portion? Where does that go? What? Right, it goes to the people that have to ship it or sell it. Anything else? The supply, building the supply? Well, we can look at these things. Here's the dollar bill. This section right here is the 16 cents that goes to the farmer. This is for labor. So we need people to make those products. We need people like you to be involved in the agriculture industry, to be involved in food and beverage, and we need to pay you to do that. But then we also have packaging. And I think that sometimes packing is a little ridiculous. Something will come in a huge box and a little tiny bag in the middle, on the inside, right? But then we also have transportation and energy, and we want to make a profit, right? There has to be some type of profit. We want to make some money. Rent and interest, but then also taxes and other costs that come with that. So there's a huge part that plays into that food dollar. It's not just the farmer getting all of the money that you pay for when you buy that box of Honey Nut Cheerios. They're not going to get the $3.99 that you're paying for that. You're going to get a very, very small amount, less than $1 for that. And so as we wrap up today, I just want you to remember that the agriculture industry today has a lot of opportunities for all of you to be involved. And so I really hope that you consider to do that, and that you really take everything that the guest speakers have to say today to heart.